The connection between science and art matters.
Because art can reach people in a visceral way to convey the importance of biomedical research and to maintain the public support and funding that is vital to work like ours.
On today's show, learn about a heartwarming video.
I describe this as a composition about a child who was born with a heart ailment and how scientific research helped him to experience life.
And now, he's living and thriving.
His heart is different from other hearts, and he knows that. But he is strong, and he is brave. We've always called him our little heart warrior, and so I hope he sees himself that way.
Discover the Little Heart Warrior inside this edition of CTSI Discovery Radio. Welcome to CTSI Discovery Radio. I'm your host, Brian Belmer. CTSI Discovery Radio is brought to you by the Clinical and Translational Science Institute of Southeast Wisconsin. The CTSI is a consortium of researchers, doctors, scientists, and others representing 8 institutions, including the Medical College of Wisconsin, Milwaukee School of Engineering, Marquette University, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Children's Wisconsin, Froedtert Hospital, Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin, and the Zablocki VA Medical Center. The CTSI works collaboratively across all of our member institutions. Our mission is advancing health through research and discovery. Back in spring, a short-form video created as part of the Medical College of Wisconsin's Project Wonder, The Art of Science, was screened at the Milwaukee Film Festival. The video combines the artfully told story of a young boy born with a congenital heart defect and groundbreaking research inspiring that boy to survive and thrive in life. Today, we're focusing on this special video, demonstrating how science and art work together to inform and inspire each other and us. In short, our show is going to the movies. We begin by gaining insight from director Alex Boyes, Senior Creative Consultant for Strategy and Growth in the Office of Communication at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Alex explains that Project Wonder, The Art of Science, was launched
a couple of years ago to bring together artists and scientists to help tell the story of the extraordinary research happening right in our own backyard in Milwaukee. Bring it to life in a very emotional, human way that science can often be difficult to break through in that area.
It's a program mostly shared through social media to
bring it to the masses in a way that evokes emotional response, it invokes curiosity, and of course it invokes wonder. Our hope is that we can reach a very broad audience to get them curious and ask questions. These pieces aren't designed to explain science, they're designed to make you want to dig deeper and learn more.
Why is the intersection of art and science so important?
Going back to early foundations of science and humanity, they were connected fundamentally as part of how we understand the human experience. So we're not doing anything too groundbreaking, we're just sort of bringing back the roots of how science and arts were connected.
Including a recent series of research science-inspired music videos.
We commissioned local video producer Wes Tank and his creative production company Tank Think to help us create a series of music videos to help explain science. Call it the sound of science, if you will. Partnering with Wes helped us really explore the concept of a music video in a little bit deeper form than we might have taken on our own.
One of these videos is a mini operetta titled Little Heart Warrior.
I wanted to make sure we had a little operetta in this because if you're going to commission 4 art pieces, might as well do an opera for one of them. An opera for science? Why not? Opera has a unique way of explaining things in clear language. But really, it's not about explaining the science as much as painting a picture.
The video depicts the real-life story of a young boy named William, born with a congenital heart defect, and is inspired by the groundbreaking research of Dr. Awi Tamita Mitchell and Dr. Brandon Teft. Dr. Tomita Mitchell is a professor in the departments of surgery and biomedical engineering at the Medical College of Wisconsin.
My piece is more focused on congenital heart disease, and Dr. Teff's been developing and optimizing the 3D bioprinting, where he is printing living cells. Our team helps make those cells from the skin or blood or urine sample from a patient and reprogram them into living beating cells. Then Dr. Teff's group prints them into real beating heart tissue that we can study.
Dr. Brandon Teft is Associate Professor of Biomedical Engineering and Director of the Cardiovascular Regenerative Engineering Lab at the Marquette University Medical College of Wisconsin Joint Department of Biomedical Engineering.
And we generally work within the area of cardiovascular disease research. And one of the specific diseases we're interested in is congenital heart disease.
We highlighted their research earlier. Go back and listen to episode number 100 of our show. But for now, Dr. Teft tells us their work involves 3D bioprinting living tissue.
Based on the more general 3D printing technology where an object is built up one layer at a time. What's unique about 3D bioprinting is this idea of printing living cells into a biomaterial scaffold that can support these cells and allow them to thrive and grow. We end up with a nascent tissue construct that can strengthen and develop over time and eventually become similar to native tissue in terms of structure and function if all goes to plan.
In the time since we last interviewed them about this research,
we've been printing both healthy and diseased heart tissue side by side to see the difference.
We were focused on creating healthy heart tissue. Since then, we've really been using that tissue model to answer some of our scientific questions. What happens when we create living heart tissue from a patient with congenital heart disease? And how does that tissue compare to tissue derived from their healthy family members? And that lets us understand the molecular underpinnings of the disease and how we might best treat these patients.
Today, their research is inspiration for Little Heart Warrior.
Recently, the Project Wonder team approached us to create a music video that would be inspired both by this little boy, William, who has congenital heart disease, and our research with that condition. We met with the artists and explained our research and what we do. And of course, we're really proud that research like ours is the reason that children like William can thrive. Very appropriately, the music video ended up focusing right where it needed to, which was on William as the Little Heart Warrior.
Little Heart Warrior grew out of a wonderful initiative that pairs MCW researchers with local artists. Dr. Teft and my research became the seed of this, and a beautifully creative team brought it to life. Together, they made this amazing video that shows science and art belong together. It's just an incredibly inspiring and effective partnership.
The connection between research and art is very important because art can reach people and move people in a very visceral way, and it can be a powerful way to convey the importance of biomedical research and to maintain the public support and funding that is vital to work like ours.
While their research inspired Little Heart Warrior, the video, in turn, inspires their research going forward.
As a scientist, it's so easy to get lost in the numbers, but then when you see that it's inspired a real child, it brings you right back to the purpose of it all. It's made me want to be a better communicator about why we do this.
It's incredibly motivating to hear stories of patients like William. As scientists, we know the statistics for children born with congenital heart disease, but really that doesn't compare at all to meeting an actual patient and their family and hearing their story. We put in a lot of long hours and work very hard, and this is really a good reminder to our team that what we do matters outside the walls of the laboratory, and it connects us to the patients and the impact we can have on their experience.
Who is William, the boy whose medical odyssey is told in The Little Heart Warrior? Who better to ask than his mother?
William is a happy, healthy 7-year-old first grader. He is doing incredibly well. He loves playing soccer. He loves playing basketball. He is playing piano and learning to play all kinds of different songs.
Seemingly a typical, energetic young boy.
He is a happy, healthy 7-year-old. You would truly never know what he's been through looking at him.
But appearances can be deceiving because William has been through a lot. Still, his mother says,
He has no physical limitations, he has no developmental delays, and we are very aware that we're in the minority. Not everyone with CHD has this type of outcome, and we're incredibly grateful. He's just a happy, healthy little boy.
healthy today, but he's come a long way since being diagnosed with
A very rare disorder called Shone's complex. CHD occurs in 1 in every 100 live births, and Shone's complex occurs in less than 1% of those cases.
rare indeed, and discovered before William was even born.
It was discovered when I was pregnant at about 20 weeks. It appeared that William's left heart was smaller than his right heart. And from there, we were referred to Children's Wisconsin's neonatal intensive care unit to take a look at what was going on.
What interventions has William experienced to date?
He has had 2 open heart surgeries. One was at 7 days old, and the second was when he was 2 years old. We have been told that he will need probably another open heart surgery sometime in the future.
In the meantime, thankfully, perhaps miraculously, his care team says,
Be a kid. Go out, play, do everything you want to do. You have no limitations, and they're always really clear on that, which I'm so grateful for.
one way William is sharing his story is through MCW's Project Wonder. Director Alex Boyes tells us to create the Little Heart Warrior video, they found a perfect collaborating partner.
For Little Heart Warrior, we partnered with Jill Anapanasek of Milwaukee Opera Theater. And we really just sat down with her and said, hey, here are some concepts. Which one's interesting to you?
Alex Boyes reached out, extended an invitation. I looked up what Project Wonder was, and I said yes.
Jill Anapanasek, producing artistic director of Milwaukee Opera Theater, had an idea for the operetta.
Jill immediately thought about the precision medicine of Dr. Brandon Teft and Aoi Tamita Mitchell.
First, we learned about the research, and then we realized that we could connect to someone we knew whose life had really become possible because of advances, specifically in pediatric cardiology. So we reached out to them to see if they would be willing to join us in this project.
Jill Anna reached out to her friend, William's mom.
The amazing Jill Anapanasek of Milwaukee Opera Theater was approached by the medical college about this project and thought of me as someone who might be interested in promoting research for congenital heart disease.
And once they said yes, then we put an artistic team together to develop the actual mini opera.
Because we know how fortunate our family has been to take advantage of research advances, and so we wanted to promote that.
To facilitate that, William's mother provided Jill Anna some of her son's drawings.
The key that unlocked it was that William's mother dropped off a year's worth of artwork that he had done in kindergarten for us to look through.
When he heard they were interested in his artwork, he was thrilled. So we went down to the basement and got his art bin.
The little boy's drawings provided insight and inspiration.
Every single one of William's self-portraits included an anatomical heart drawn on himself, and it was so striking to us that in order to draw a picture of himself, he must draw an anatomical heart. Not a heart shape like every other child would do, a heart with chambers.
His heart is different from other hearts, and he knows that, but he is strong and he is brave. We've always called him our little heart warrior from the very beginning. When I was pregnant, we would talk about our little heart warrior, and so he sees himself that way. He's strong and he's resilient.
And so that became our jumping off point for exploring the rest of the story.
Jill Anna began bringing other key collaborators aboard. Director Alex Boyes.
Jill, being the extraordinary producer connector she is, she immediately thought of Autumn Maria Reed, local composer extraordinaire, who has done similar work with children, developing their stories into song.
Jill Anna Panasek of the Milwaukee Opera Theater reached out to me. She noted that this project involves the Opera Theater and the Medical College of Wisconsin. Kind of an interesting combination.
As a composer, Autumn says the project checked a lot of boxes.
I've always had an interest in writing music for children's media, including animation. However, as I'm developing my musical craft, I want to compose music for wellness, community outreach, and education. So this project was a perfect marriage of all of that. Everything rolled into one.
What was Autumn's approach for composing the music for Little Heart Warrior?
I wanted wanted to include William's perspective about him, so I asked his mother to email me a letter or audio interview from William directly.
I interviewed him to ask him about his heart and what he likes about it and what he thinks is interesting about his heart. I asked him those questions and recorded them for the entire team so they could kind of hear directly from William in his voice what he wanted to share with them.
And then I adapted his words as lyrics for the Little Heart Warrior. Really insightful for such a small boy.
But this small boy provided an assist for Autumn.
A big assist, I'd say. I can't make up his story if I don't include him. It can be very challenging to come up with lyrics, so I remained open-minded and inspired by William's voice. So I put myself in the shoes of young children and considered their favorite activities, especially as told by William.
She also gained valuable insight working in collaboration with producer Jill Anna Ponisic.
There's a lot of moving parts to this project, so I appreciate Joanna's guidance, especially about the opera side. When in doubt, I just rely on the experts because they know what they're doing and they've been doing it much longer than me.
To set the tone for the video, elements were incorporated to create a soundscape reflecting the fragility of William's medical journey.
William spent most of his early days in the NICU, intensive care unit, for his arrhythmia. And so his early days were very much about this mechanical surrounding, this sort of unhuman but very warm and loving surroundings.
To replicate William's early days, the video's soundscape utilizes the use of
this very odd machine from the 70s called the Phonocardo Simulator. It looks like a boombox, and you can dial in arrhythmic heartbeats.
It is an old-fashioned way to teach heartbeats to medical students. Like, this is a typical heartbeat, and this is an abnormal heartbeat. So it's old school medical education tech.
So we sampled this device to be the rhythm of the track.
It's subtle, but it's there, and it works.
As a listener, if you don't know that story, you might not even register that an unusual instrument is playing. But when we do things like that in our storytelling, I feel like it knits it together on a tighter level, and subconsciously it makes it stronger.
In addition to mechanical aspects of the soundscape, Jill Anna shares insights on human aspects as well, including a piano performance by Steph Lippert.
Steph is one of our favorite artists. This is the section of the piece where we're experiencing life outside of the hospital, the fullness of the human experience of being social, of being able to go to school, of being able to play games. So the warmth and the authenticity of using Steph's piano was just one way for us to convey moving away from the beeps and the boops of the neonatal ICU.
Also featured brilliant operatic performances by soprano Michaela Usher and tenor Austin Baer, composer Autumn Maria Reed.
I recommended including the musicians and artists whom I've worked with on past projects such as Michaela Usher, Austin Baer, Steph Lippert. And, in short, I'd say Michaela is a much better vocalist and Steph is a much better pianist than I ever could. Likewise with Austin, especially since I don't have a tenor range just by biology, I was confident in all of their expertise. I'm just so thrilled that all three of them were available.
Together, these elements bring the video's soundscape arc to completion, ranging from
early life for these patients. When they are born, it's so high risk, and then they spend a long time in a ICU. And the first sounds that their little ears hear are the machines whirring and buzzing around them. So we talked about how the first sounds that William heard in his life were hospital sounds. And then because of the research for conditions like his, he was able to move into the natural world and run and jump and play soccer. And you hear the score become more human as we move into that section.
As for those drawings William's mother collected from her son, they provide the visual component for the video.
Little Heart Warrior was very much, let's get little William's drawings moving. Let's find a way to bring his journey to life through his own drawings, and in the lyrics through his own words.
The collaborative team making the video grew with the addition of an animation expert.
Dave Keel, local animating legend, was able to pull these together remarkably quickly to take a whole pile of scans his mother provided to bring to life and move around that tells the story of his journey in a very childlike way that keeps the joy and lightness that we intended this to be together.
Animator Dave Keel says by the time he got involved with the project,
at that point, the song was 70 or 80% done, and the foundation of the project was already so strong.
Still, he knew he'd make an impact on the video.
The backstory was something that I thought would be a really fun thing to work with and try to translate the research into something that was also mixing the story as well.
What was his philosophy for combining art and science in the animation?
I wanted to explore the tension between this mechanical world that kept William alive as a baby and then this vibrant human world that he gets to grow up in because of technology.
William's drawings were brought to life through Dave Keel's animation expertise.
Kids' art is usually really imaginative in itself, but William specifically, he usually had his heart drawn in the character that he was drawing himself as, something that was consistent across his artwork, which I thought was a good way to just maintain the focus throughout the entire piece. You always saw his heart was there.
Next, Dave and director Alex Boyes give a synopsis of the video's animation.
We start out in darkness, introducing lightning bolts and mechanical strings that I animated at a different frame rate to make them feel more machine-like.
Little Heart Warrior starts with a small drawing of a beating heart. Little William drew an anatomical heart, which Dave then started working with to make it move and beat, electrical signals coming in, all set to a very sparse intro of music.
And then as those two things kind of weave into one, that forms the heart, which once that was strong enough, we go from darkness to light, and that's when you first see William.
As the video progresses, William
gets stronger and can start going through and living his life. It's almost like this patchwork, this character and his heart are moving through.
William grows out of this heart, you can say, and starts moving and running and jumping and playing as the music swells and builds to a crescendo.
He's growing up as a normal kid, and he has friends and family. He's laughing and dancing and overcoming fear.
As the music crescendos, little William is holding a little sword that he drew, standing on top of a heart that is a collage of all of his drawings together.
That was fun to see this character William made travel through all of his different artwork and come back to that research and science meet life.
You get this sort of warm beauty of a child's art, the beauty of the vocalists and the piano, as it all sort of wraps together in this sort of a musical visual hug if we've done our job correctly,
resulting in a stunning visual and aural experience.
I think the story is really strong and gives us this blueprint for our own lives. And William shows us we can overcome and still have this normal, happy life, even if there are challenges.
Composer Autumn Maria Reed agrees.
I describe this as a composition about a child who was born with a heart ailment and how scientific research helped him to experience life like most children. I always think back to when I was a child. I loved music and animation, but I also loved learning. The arts have a way to make complex subjects more palatable for the community, including children.
Producer Jill Anna Ponisic.
It wasn't until we really sat back to watch it with the researchers that I got to really experience it as a whole. But the most moving thing to me consistently is the way that this constellation of different artistic gestures, whether it's lyrics that William wrote, vocal lines that Michaela and Austin laid down, the animation, seeing it all coalesce into one gesture is like a consistently moving experience.
All encompassed in a mini opera, which is no easy feat.
When we talk about opera, we're often talking about long compositions. So the video demands of this one were really fascinating. Can this have the feeling of a complete composition? We have to accomplish that on a miniature scale. And when you watch it, you can hear musical sections within this tiny composition. We actually succeeded in creating a teeny tiny opera that actually has an arc.
With the goal of impactfully telling William's story. So, does it?
Oh, I do think so. I do feel like it does that. When you see that person's first grade artwork and hear lyrics that they wrote about their favorite things to do, it's human in a different way. The core of it was, if it weren't for advances in medicine, William wouldn't be with us, period. We need this research because things that were impossible 5 years ago or 10 years ago become possible.
When William and his family got to see Little Heart Warrior for the first time,
I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't believe it. The music was so beautiful, and it was just incredible to see his art come to life in a way that shares what he's been through and what research has done for him.
and William's reaction.
He thought it was so cool, and he wanted to play it over and over, and he had never seen his artwork that way, and he was thrilled.
As mentioned, Project Wonder's Little Heart Warrior video was screened recently as part of the Milwaukee Film Festival at the historic Oriental Theater. Dr. Awitamita Mitchell and Dr. Brandon Teft.
I was thrilled beyond words. It's such an honor to be an official selection at the Milwaukee Film Festival. I hope they walked away seeing science not as something distant, but a deeply human pursuit. Telling our story well can inspire the next generation of scientists, artists, and public support that's making discovery research possible.
Yeah, I was definitely excited. I wasn't sure what to expect. I've never been to a film festival before, but after they had the artists be interviewed and explain their work, when they did this for the Little Heart Warrior video, I could hear in the audience a lot of oohs and ahs once they understood what they had seen and what it meant. I could appreciate the creativity of these artists, and I hope the attendees of the film festival could appreciate the importance of what we do here at MCW and the creativity that we also need to possess in order to think of the next breakthrough with our work.
The artists involved sharing equal excitement.
Oh, it just made my heart leap. It's so exciting to be included in anything that takes opera into a different context. To have it selected was very meaningful.
I was shocked that Little Heart Warrior was going to be submitted. Working on this project unintentionally fulfilled my childhood dream. My music set to animation on the big screen. It's mind-blowing.
It's always an honor to be a part of it. It's really fun to see what we could make together.
On movie night, I attended and captured the audience reaction. Following the screening, reactions in the lobby from director Alex Boyce.
I think seeing it in the setting of the Milwaukee Film Fest anchors the mission of Project Wonder of community engagement through the arts. Seeing the reaction of the community, looking around and watching people's smiles and gasps. We've been blown away by the warm reception this piece is getting across all audiences, really.
Composer Autumn Maria Reed.
It's just overwhelming to hear my music. It's overwhelming.
And William was there.
We took him to that screening at the Milwaukee Film Festival, and we walked out to the lobby afterwards, and he looked up at me with a smile on his face, and he said, "Mama, I'm proud. I'm proud." It brought tears to my eyes because I want him to be proud of what he's done and how resilient he is. We know we still have more ahead of us, and I want him to understand that it's thanks to advances in research that he has the life that he has today.
If you want to experience Little Heart Warrior and other MCW Project Wonder efforts,
go to mcw.edu/project-wonder. Project Wonder is also on all social platforms, but really to see the full story, heading to mcw.edu is the best place to get a full picture of the artists involved in all the work.
That's all the time we have for this edition of CTSI Discovery Radio. As always, thanks to each of our guests for appearing on today's show. I hope you've discovered something by listening, and I doubly hope you'll join us again next time. CTSI Discovery Radio airs the third Friday of every month. Make an appointment on your calendar and join us for each episode. On behalf of the Clinical and Translational Science Institute of Southeast Wisconsin and all of our affiliate partners and members, I'm Brian Belmer, wishing you happier, healthier days ahead. For more information about research or to listen to the podcast of this or any of our shows on demand, please visit our website at ctsi.mcw.edu. CTSI Discovery Radio is written, produced, and hosted by Brian Belmer in collaboration with WMSE Radio. The CTSI and this program are under the direction of Dr. Julie Freed.